welcome back to the How to Podcast series. This is Dave. Welcome back. Glad to have you here. We are finishing up our series. This is number 9 of 10 around our Appleseed series, around the idea and the quote that you can count the number of seeds in an apple, but you can't count the number of apples in a seed. We're talking about impact here on the How to Podcast series, that your podcast can have impact far beyond any number that you could see in your analytics, any amount of money put in your hand. I know we all would love money, but there's something bigger about podcasting than money or the amount of people who listen to your show. And when I listen to other gurus talk about podcasting, they seem to be fixated on the size of your audience and the amount of money in your bank account because you have a podcast. And I think there's room for more than just making money and collecting listeners. There's got to be more to podcasting than that. And for me, I'm really honing in on the fact that podcasting can have an impact beyond anything you can think, imagine, or measure. And that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about our impact for our podcast and how our promotion and our distribution can have an impact on the impact to our audience for our podcast. It is the Appleseed series on the How to Podcast series. My name is Dave. Here we go. So I'm really enjoying this little mini series. I might do these again in the future. I like the feedback that I'm getting from you, from listening, and some of your comments around the topic and the fact that we're kind of narrowing in on one given focus for 10 episodes. Pretty interesting. So another thing that's timely is we're going to be doing in the month of November 2023, we're going to be part of the NaPodPoMo. And no, I'm not making up a new language, but that's the National Podcast Post Month. Yeah, NaPodPoMo. Yeah, what we're going to be doing is posting one episode one episode a day for 30 days in a row. All of November is going to be a brand new episode every single day on the How to Podcast series. So your phone's not broken. Something didn't happen. If you don't know about this and all of a sudden you're like, why do I have 30 episodes of Dave? You're like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of Dave. I'm planning it out. I'm almost done getting everything ready and queued up, ready to go. About 7 more episodes have to be recorded and posted, and we're done. And then I jump over to Living the Next Chapter and do 30 episodes over there as well. 60 episodes in 1 month, people. Do I get like some kind of a medal or an award or something? That's a lot of podcasting. 60 in 1 month. Most podcasts do one podcast a week, and there's only 52 weeks in a year. I'll be doing 60 in 1 month. I'm already tired, and it's not even November yet. But we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be celebrating NaPodPoMo, and make sure you follow the hashtag, follow the other podcasters who are doing this. Check it out. And if you're not able to do it this year, this is their 16th anniversary. Maybe next year you can join us for the 17th anniversary. It takes a lot of planning, but we'd love to have you part of this as well. Let's make podcasting a big thing with your help. Okay? NaPodPoMo, everybody. We're going to be looking at today at how your promotion and distribution of your podcast can have an impact, not just on your show, but on your audience. So there's a few things we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at utilizing multiple platforms for your podcast around promotion and distribution strategies. Your podcast directories. You submit your podcast to a popular directory like Apple Podcasts, Spotify. What is Google today? There will be YouTube tomorrow. We're on YouTube, actually. Connected our RSS to YouTube, by the way, just so you know. So you can catch us over there as well. And other podcatchers are out there. We're in AfriPods. That's an African podcasting catcher. So this is being listened to in Africa. There you go. So come on. So that's how your podcast directories, those are how your distribution of your episodes go out to the world. This makes it easier for potential listeners to find and subscribe to your podcast. So you want to be as many places as possible. I've said it before, if you're only in Apple, you're not going to get any Android users coming to find you. If you're only on Spotify, you have to have a membership to enjoy all the benefits of Spotify. So you have to go where everybody is. Don't just go to one place and then complain that you're not getting enough listens. You need to be everywhere. So search up those podcast directories. If you need help, I have a list of all the directories that I know of currently, and I keep it up to date as much as I can. So if you need that list, let me know. howtopodcast.ca. The other thing you can use is your own website. You need a dedicated page on your website for your podcast, or a website just for your podcast. Now, if you use Linktree, Podpage, even Podlink, which I talk about a lot, that's not your domain, and you're not getting any benefit personally for sending people to some other site. When you own the domain, I own howtopodcast.ca. I own livingthenextchapter.com. I own truemediasolutions.ca. I own livingthenextchapter.com. I own dailysantapodcast.com. I own a lot of websites. That's my piece of the internet. A Linktree, you're giving search results to Linktree, not to you. It's convenient. I get it. Linktrees are easy to set up, and you can have multiple things there. But you can also do everything that you can do on Linktree, you can do on your own website. And you're not sending people to Linktree. If you send people to Podpage is ranking on Google, not you. It's not your website. It's Podpage. It's their website, and you're on Podpage's website. Okay, so that's like you saying that you give me something, I post it on my website, and then you tell everybody that you now have a website because you posted something on my site. No, it's my site, and I have some of your content on my site. So anytime somebody comes to my page, I'm getting credit for it, not you, because you're posting on my page. So anytime that you look at the address line and there's something in front of the name of your show or your whatever, something, slash, and then the name of your show, whatever that's the beginning of the address line, they're the ones that are getting the hit, not you. So you want to bring it back to yourself. You need a website. Dave, this is crazy. I can't afford a website. Can you afford $12 a year? $12 a year, $1 a month. Okay, you can take one less coffee drive-through run, and you could have a website. You're like, Dave, but building a website's incredibly hard. I have to learn WordPress and know all these plugins, and I got to be like a super nerd. Nope. No, you don't. I built a website for a new podcaster on Canva, and it took total maybe less than an hour to pull together a really beautiful website. So you can use the free version of Canva and build your website, or go with the pro, which I have because I use it for everything. And you can build your website right on Canva. And I will show you how to do it. I'll show you how to connect it. I'll show you everything. You just have to buy the domain. You need to buy the domain. Don't let somebody buy it for you because they own your domain then. It's on their credit card. It needs to be on your credit card, $12 a month, and you can have your own piece of the internet. Make sure you get a website. Please get a website. And stop all this Podpage stuff and stop all this other stuff, because it's not your domain. It's not your website. So you have podcast directories. That's how your podcast gets into the world. You have your own website, which you need to get. Social media. So that's where you're going to be your Instagram, your Twitter, X, Facebook, LinkedIn. use this to promote your episode, realizing, though, that for the most part, people who follow your podcast page on social media are probably already listening to your show, so they don't need to be told there's a new episode, because if they're following your show like we're asking them to do, they already know it's on their phone. It's in a little folder called New Episodes. They don't need to be told, and they know that you have posted. It's right there on their phone. So social media there is to try to connect with people and carry on the conversation after the podcast goes out. So you're preaching to the choir when you reach out on social media, just so you know. The likelihood of somebody new finding you, liking your Instagram page, and they have no idea what a podcast is, pretty slim. Best way to do this is to talk to people on the apps where people listen. So you have podcast directories, we have your website, we have social media. Another platform you can use is YouTube. So yeah, this podcast is now linked with my RSS feed directly to YouTube. So if you want to see what that looks like, head over to YouTube. And the How to Podcast series, you'll see what it looks like. It's also on YouTube Music. So when you go on the app, you can see podcasts. You'll find us there. And you can listen right on the app. It's amazing. Another thing you can do for a platform would be an email newsletter. Now, I've tried this. I've done it hit and miss. Yeah, I haven't really put a lot of effort into this, to be quite honest, but it is a way to get to speak to your audience directly without having to go through a social media platform like Facebook. You don't own Facebook. It's free to sign up. So if it's free, probably most likely you're the product, not Facebook. So they're using your information and selling it and doing all kinds of stuff to it. And I really don't like Facebook because you can easily get hacked. People are just, I don't know. I'm not a fan. Instagram's okay. TikTok's been pretty good. But for the most part, I focus on my podcast, to be quite honest. The next thing you can do is also, as far as a platform idea, is collaborate with others and promote each other. Partner with other podcasters in your niche or in related fields. Feature each other on your podcasts. Promote each other. On the How to Podcast series, I'm bringing co-hosts on. I want you to fall in love with their podcast. You might find your next new favorite podcast by just listening to the guest co-hosts that come on the show. I want them to promote their podcast. I want you to know about them. We can all do this. We can all do a better job of promoting each other. Another platform idea is just guest appearances. Invite influencers, experts, or thought leaders as guests on your podcast. They can help promote the episode to their followers, expanding your reach. And also guest on other podcasts. Don't just be the host all the time. Put yourself out there as a guest. And I'm putting myself out here right now. If you're looking for a guest to come on your show, maybe somebody canceled and you're like, I need a guest. I would love to come on your show and talk podcasting, talk about anything that you want to talk about. I'd love to. So reach out to me, howtopodcast.ca, send me your calendar links, blah, 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 and let's work together. I'd love to be a guest on your show. So we talked about the different promotion and distribution strategies. We can use our podcast directories. So that's where our podcast lives and how it gets to all the player apps. We have our website, which you're going to get. Social media, we have YouTube, which I'm connected to right now, so enjoy. Our email newsletters, which I could do better at. Collaboration with others through cross-promotion. Guest appearances, having people on your show and being a guest on others. But here's some actionable tips now on how to use things, how to work more effectively with these things. By leveraging social media effectively, we can use visual content, create eye-catching graphics or video snippets to promote your podcast episodes on social media. Visuals always grab attention and entice potential listeners to check out your show. Put some time into that. And if you want, you should probably just build templates and then alter the information, the background, the video, and you just start with something already. You don't have to start from scratch every time. Engage with hashtags. Research and use relevant hashtags to increase the discoverability of your posts. On some platforms, hashtags work better than others. So figure out the platform, understand how it works, and use it to the best for that platform. Hashtags can help your content reach a broader audience interested in your podcast and your podcast topic. Interactive posts, pose questions, run polls, or share engaging quotes from your episodes and encourage interaction and conversation with your followers. Some of the things we can do as well to think about as far as our impact for our podcast is optimize your podcast search engine optimization, SEO. Make sure your episode titles and descriptions are well-crafted, descriptive, and keyword rich. Both your titles and your descriptions, show notes, show description, whatever you want to call it, for your podcast episodes. This always enhances searchability within podcast directories and search engines. And now with YouTube connecting RSS directly in, you're now getting the power of all of the goodness of YouTube search, which then could also draw people back to your podcast on the audio side for the audio apps that you have your podcast listed on. So make sure you tell people to come and find you there as well. Show notes are also important. Include detailed show notes with timestamps if you can, key points, and links mentioned in the episode. This not only improves SEO, but it also provides value for your listeners. So if you mention the blah, blah, blah and how to get it, make sure you put a link there so people can click and go right to it. The other thing you can do too is you can engage with online communities, forums and groups. I like meetups. Identify with online forums, groups, or communities related to your podcast topic. Participate in discussions, show up, share your expertise, and provide value. And when appropriate, share links to your podcast and the episode relevant to the conversation. For the meetups, we're having meetups for the How to Podcast series, and you're invited to come to those. And the idea is simply just to get together with other podcasters and talk podcasting and support each other. And that's the reason why we're doing it. So you're always invited to come and check that out as well. All of which can be found at howtopodcast.ca. Implementing these tips will help you effectively promote and distribute your podcast. You can reach a wider audience and increase the impact of your message. Remember that consistency and genuine engagement are key. They're the foundation to building a loyal listener base over time. So this is the Appleseed series here on the How to Podcast series. And remember, as always, that you can't count the number of apples in a seed. Howtopodcast.ca. Catch you on the next one. Thanks for listening.